There's no perfectionism. There's fear of failure, but there's no perfect, right? So a lot of the times these emotional things that come up socially, especially, are really about people's self-esteem and their own willingness to love and accept themselves and be willing to give other people the opportunity to love and accept them as they are, rather than trying to bend into a new shape that might be more pleasing to that person.
I think though that there are different personalities. Some people it's just easier, and other people they're just like kind of very people pleasing, and it's just hard for them to not eat something that was made just for them.
100%. And that's why a lot of it comes from self-esteem, right? People pleasing is, it's a trap, right? So I could spend a whole show talking about what people pleasing is and where it comes from and why people do it, but it comes from a place of insecurity. A lot of times when people feel the need to please others, they learned as a child at some point that my value is in what I give or do for others, right? That I'm not inherently lovable for who I am, but for what I do. And so when people have that belief about themselves, they're always afraid that if they don't do what other people want them to do, that they're not going to love them anymore. They're not going to be happy with them anymore. And so it's a really important thing to overcome, to realize that you are valuable and lovable exactly as you are, who you are, whatever you eat, whatever you do, that love is non-negotiable. That's inherent to who you are. What you do, that's a personal choice for you, right? So if I do something for someone and it's not what they wanted, then I want them to let me know so I can do what they want, right? If somebody wants to make me something because they love me and want to do something nice for me, then that's wonderful. I'll tell them what to do so that they can give me the gift that I actually want, right? So it's one of the things I love to do. I love giving gifts to people, but they have to be thoughtful. It has to be perfect, right? So I love it because it's so fun to see someone's face when you give them something that's exactly what they wanted. So how do I figure that out? I don't give them what I want. I get to know them. I ask them questions about things they like so that I can come up with something that exactly meets their desires, their needs, right? I'm not going to get them something that I think is good. So it's really an important thing that if you want to make people happy and somebody's trying to make you something, then what would make them happy is to know what to make you and to give you what you want. But yeah, people pleasing, there's steps to recovering from that. And one of them is, one, giving yourself that love and acceptance that I can live my life the way I want to, and I'm equally deserving of love and friendship, and that I'm allowed to take up space and be who I am, and that doesn't take away from anybody else, and that people pleasing doesn't work. If somebody's happiness is dependent on whether or not you eat their sandwich they made you, then their happiness is very brittle. They need to work on their self-care. You can't make people happy, but you can make yourself happy. So yeah, it is a condition. Just like perfectionism, it's not real. I always tell people there's no perfectionism. There's fear of failure, but there's no perfect. Right? So a lot of the times these emotional things that come up socially, especially, are really about people's self-esteem and their own willingness to love and accept themselves and be willing to give other people the opportunity to love and accept them as they are, rather than trying to bend into a new shape that might be more pleasing to that person.